What's up, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Believe in Falcons. I'm your host, Will McFadden, joined as always by former Falcons fullback, Ovie Mughelli. Ovie, what's up, dude? How was your week?
It's good. It's good. I can't complain. I had a random person, and this rarely happens as a fullback. They were really excited to meet me. I was in Kroger, and this guy, an older gentleman, like he just knew all my stats going back to college and knew about my salary and my highlights. And remember this game back in 2010 when you might turn into this? I'm like, kind of. Like, oh, that was great. And I was on the second row, and I was like, wow. And it was kind of nice to get a little bit of love from the
Ovie,
fans. So it was cool.
you're a famous podcaster now.
This is
That's why I recognized you. He is a huge fan of this show. I guarantee you that
I
he
don't know
was
why.
like, "Oh my God, you're my favorite podcaster. I know all of your stats, man." That's what happened.
That was exactly what happened.
Congratulations.
But
Congratulations.
it was nice. Thank you for that, sir. It was nice to be recognized. It was random thing. We all need to be, I think, just given that little bump, a little compliment. So, if you see somebody, randomly compliment them. Nice socks or nice, cufflinks or, I like your eyebrows. Anything. Random compliments to random people is always fun.
Yeah, be sure to tip the next friendly neighborhood fullback that you see. It is the
Yes.
holiday season, and we're in the giving spirit. We are here to give you guys some thoughts, knowledge, predictions, what have you, on the next matchup for the Atlanta Falcons against the Carolina Panthers. But first, it might help to run down memory lane from the last time these two teams met back in Week 8 inside of Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I was at that game. I remember it
Mm.
vividly because I got a notification on my phone walking from the yellow lot over to Mercedes-Benz Stadium down Northside Drive, and it said Calvin Ridley has been ruled out for the game
Mm.
due to mental health reasons. And
Yeah.
this was the first game of Calvin
Without
Ridley's
Calvin.
extended absence. And so
Yep.
the Panthers went on to win this game 19-13. Falcons led it 10-3 in the second quarter, and then that was, the last time that they ever really were close until they made a field goal once the game was well out of hand. I went back and watched this game. It was sloppy. The Falcons opened it up with a forced fumble, but they just kind of played lackadaisically. Like they really weren't in it. And that was my biggest takeaway kind of rewatching it. Tajay Sharp was the leading receiver with 58 yards. I mean, like that
Ouch.
not inspiring.
Oh.
Mike Davis was the leading rusher with 44 yards. So the Falcons
Ooh.
weren't getting it done at all on offense. They made a couple of plays defensively, but they allowed Sam Darnold to get a big run against them. I
Mm.
mean, he finished with 66 yards rushing. Chuba Hubbard finished with 82 yards. So it was probably one of the Falcons' worst games of the
Yeah.
season. That's my big lead in to say I really, really like the Falcons this weekend against the Panthers. And I'm excited to talk to you about it and explain why. And we will do that right after this. All right, Ovi. I am perhaps more excited for this game, I think, than I've been in a long while. And I think it's because the Falcons kind of know who they are now. Even if
Mhm.
they may not, even if that identity may not be obvious to a lot of people, I think that they are the type of team that is going to really do the details well. They're not necessarily trying to stress or force anything. They're going to take what's there. They want to be run oriented, run focused, and they're getting better in that part of the game. And defensively, they are going to let you complete some short passes, but no yards after the catch. And then in times of high leverage situations, they're probably going to send pressure and they're going to play man coverage and they're going to play tight man coverage. And it's worked at times so far this season. They're just doing all of that at a much higher level than they were in week 8 when they played the Panthers the first time around. And I think the Falcons are a better team than they were at that point. I know they just lost to Tampa Bay, but they still did, I think, a lot of the things that they wanted to do in
Yeah.
that game. They just weren't able to string it along together for long enough. And that's because Tampa Bay is a better team and they have better
Yeah.
players and they could shut it down. I think outside of Carolina's pass rush, the Falcons are equally as talented, perhaps more talented in certain areas. I don't know. Am I wrong to be this optimistic? I'm not usually this optimistic. It's a weird feeling for me. Fuck. Fuck.
Yo, yo.
Hey, I'm back.
Yep. Yep. Dang it. I was telling myself the last thing you said over and over and over again.
I
And then
got
now
it.
you
I
came
got it.
on.
I got it.
Okay, good.
I got it. It was, I'm usually not this optimistic about the Falcons. Like, am I wrong to feel this way about this game?
Um, no, you're not wrong to feel this way. And to go back to what you said, strangely enough, I'm excited about this game. It's weird. It's like every game has something, exciting and a reason I want to watch, the reason I can't wait till Sunday or Thursday or Monday, whenever the Falcons are playing. And it's strange. A lot of fans are upset at the lack of us being good or great at any category, and they just expect more and they're irritated. And I'm happy to watch them grow or find ways to uh move forward, fall forward, fail forward, even because if they lose and they fail, as long as they're failing forward and they're finding ways to get better and kind of build uh the building blocks that will allow them to be a serviceable team, more than serviceable, a playoff team next year, I'm good. But you're not wrong. I think the Tampa Bay game in our last podcast, which everyone listened to, I'm sure, we touched
That
on
guy
how
did who stopped you.
yeah, he did. Of course, he did. And I feel like we talked about how this was a game of effort, intensity, and mindset, where we can kind of see certain players saying, I'm just tired of all that talk at Tampa Bay are juggernauts. I'm going to throw everything at them. I'm going to give them all I got. I'm going to keep on fighting, even if it is the last quarter. There's only a couple of seconds left. I'm still trying to knock somebody out. And that mentality, I could have just been seeing things, but several people, pundits and talking heads like me and yourself, said that they saw the same thing. And I think that that type of effort, which frankly, they had to be perfect to beat Tampa Bay. They had to be, mistake free from self-inflicted penalties to, jumping off sides to having silly
Not
turnovers, and they
giving
didn't
up
do that.
5 sacks.
Yeah, that too. And in this game against the Panthers, you don't have to be as perfect. But if you put that same intensity and you try to improve slightly on what you did, you win this game. Because the Panthers aren't the Bucks. That's a real easy statement to make. And Cam Newton's dealing with his issues. They fire their offense coordinator. They have so many things going wrong with their internal body. I feel like we can take advantage of this and use the consistency that we have to go after them. But they're going to be coming for us. They've never swept the Falcons. Well, haven't swept us since like 2012 or 13. It's been a long time. Matt Ryan's only been swept once by the Panthers. And there's chatter in their little message boards that they want to make it happen again. So I
Ovie,
don't
you're
think,
getting into the message boards. What's up?
yeah, I mean, with some whispers. I have some Panther uh, people who like to still, reach out to me and talk trash. And it's funny, I can scroll all the way up, my DMs to when I was playing. Certain Panther friends of mine have that trash talking they like to get involved in. And they were letting me know, hey, we're going to sweep you guys for the first time since 2000, whatever. I was like, all right, well, good luck. I'm not playing anymore. So, it doesn't really matter that much, but, we're still going to beat you. So we'll see.
You're the Believe podcast network master of whisperers. You're the
Yes,
Varys of Believe. There you go.
correct.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I think that's spot on. Like, the Panthers are going to come out and give it their all. Of
Yeah,
course they are, but I want you to put a pin in the notion of, the Panthers have their own issues that they're going through. So keep that in the back of your mind. We'll come back
yep.
to that in a little bit, but let's take a look at kind of where both of these teams have been lately. The Falcons shut out against the Patriots Thursday night, 3 games ago. Jacksonville, they got the win 21-14 on the road, came back home, lost last week against Tampa Bay 30-17. The Panthers, 3 games ago, lost 27-21 to Washington. Falcons also lost to Washington. They lost then the next week on the road against Miami. Falcons won on the road against Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Panthers had the week off, bye week. So all of those games, bye week, whatever, those 2 games, Cam Newton with the Panthers, first game he played well. Second game, he definitely did not.
Not so well.
What
Not
are
so
you
well at all.
expecting out of Cam Newton in this game? Is this a better matchup for the Falcons facing a Panthers team with Cam Newton versus Sam Darnold?
Oh, absolutely. We'd much rather take Cam Newton, but unfortunately, I think that he's going to follow the trend and go back to having a good game. He's from Atlanta. I've done Cam Newton's camps before. I've met him several times. He's a great guy. His father runs his camps. Great guy. He really takes pride in being from the city, and is
Yeah, he
not
does.
going to have all his family and friends come and watch him and put out that stink of a performance he did last time. So I think whatever he needs to do, yoga, woosah, say a couple prayers, he's going to be right for this game and ready to show us, the best version of himself. But Cam still is not, even his best version of himself is not the old Cam Newton. So we know that if we do exactly what the last team did against him, we can rattle him. We can get him off his game. He's not going to be a world beater, and his legs won't allow him to beat us on the ground as much as he did before, especially with our, Foye Oluokun and Dion, and just the speed that we have at linebacker. I feel good about this game.
Yes, I do too. And I think I went back and rewatched the Falcons Bucks game before this podcast, and just the number of throws that Tom Brady made, where it was really good coverage and a phenomenal throw. And
Yeah,
it was like, damn, dude, like that's why you're Tom
to go.
Brady.
Yeah,
Like that's why
first to
you
say it.
are who you are. And no disrespect to Cam, but objectively, nowhere close to that.
No,
Nowhere close
nowhere.
to that.
No.
So I think that the Falcons, they also, the moments that they did try to blitz Tom Brady, Tampa Bay is invested in their offensive line, and they've invested really well in their offensive line. They just picked up the blitz, gave Tom
Yeah.
Brady all the time,
He,
and he picked them apart. I mean, so I think that what we just saw from Atlanta's defense, I don't really expect them to have a repeat performance against
yeah.
Carolina. And I had thought that Atlanta's defense really had been playing well. Even, that Patriots game, the defense had kept them in that. Yeah, they threw a pick
Yeah.
six late in the action to make the score a little more lopsided. But I mean, 13 points, I think, is all the Patriots had basically into kind of like the fourth quarter. So, and then in
No,
Jacksonville, I think the Falcons played well as well. So I think this is a good rebound opportunity for Atlanta's defense.
absolutely. Our defense, led by Grady Jarrett and AJ Terrell, has been one where against the run they've been getting better and better. We're
Yep, I agree.
still ranked next to last, if not last, against the path,
Can't look at the
and
numbers.
yeah, don't look at numbers, schmumbers.
Got to stay away.
Offense doesn't help us at all because we put the defense on the field way too much. But against, I think, points allowed, we're second to last as well, which is not a good place to be in. And something's got to give, with the Panthers having struggles on offense, with us some struggles on defense. It's going to be who's least worst, and we gotta find a way to be least worst in this category.
Break down the
I just
huddle
know.
on least worst.
Yes, I mean this is a great game because the Carolina Panthers offensive line is not the Tampa Bay offensive line. This
No.
would be a great game for Dean Pease to kind of serve up a Dean Pease special and really use the massive amount of film that you have this late in the season to figure out how to dismantle that offense, that offensive line. You got to have coaches play a role at some point in the season. You got to be able to win at least 2 or 3 games just on your coaching. We've talked to the cows come home that we have a talent deficit with the Falcons. We know that. We know we're in a tough cap position. We know our GM put us in a bind, and we know that we can't measure up with most NFL teams with NFL talent. So you got to get creative. And one of the ways that we can get creative with Dean Pease is to do all the things that we talked about in the offseason about his, blitz specials and his misdirection and his wizardry that he can make happen. I get there's only so much you can do with talent, but you still can elevate this talent against a squad like the Carolina Panthers. I want to see that this game.
It's a real shame because I have been on so many different podcasts this week for the Panthers. I've been on a couple of radio shows in the Carolina area, and I have had my voice has essentially been gone all week. It's
Mm.
kind of coming back now, but I basically have been on the phone yeah, what I really think about the Falcons is going to be, and it's just I'm putting the worst product out there. So I
Not
apologize
at
to
all, Logan.
everybody
You're a rock
involved
star.
in getting me this stuff. But that being said, the thing that I have said the most on all of these different platforms
Platform.
when asked about kind of the difference between the Falcons' first matchup versus this matchup, number one has been, I think Dean Pease has more of his playbook at his disposal than he did the first time these two teams saw each other. I know we
Of
talked
course.
about that kind of earlier on in the season where he said it was a slower process than he'd experienced before with other teams that he'd coached throughout his long and legendary tenure in the NFL. By now, I think it was really the game after the Panthers game, so that would make it Dallas. I did notice in that game Deion Jones and Foye were coming, I think, a lot more frequently early on. Now, you could argue that really burned them, but since then, they have been bringing five guys at least, I think, more frequently than they
Yeah.
were earlier on in the season. And I know that the Panthers offensively, their offensive line is still probably their biggest weakness. So I
Mhm.
expect the Falcons to dial up, like you said, a lot of that pressure and really stress the tackles in particular for this offensive line off the edge. The other thing that I've brought up is the Falcons have been running the ball really well against really good run defenses. And
Yeah.
the Panthers do not have a good run defense. I expect the Falcons to just let it ride on the ground all afternoon and then try to suck up some of the safeties, the linebackers. And then because that's what we've been seeing, Arthur Smith isn't that complicated. He wants to run the ball to the point that defenses really crowd the box to stop the run. And then
Yeah.
he's going to kind of max protect and he's going to send two deep shots to try to stress that safety and trust the quarterback to make the right read. It hasn't really been there because a lot of teams are still playing too deep, even against this offense. But I think the Falcons could really put some pressure on the Panthers in the run game to open up this pass game this week, which may be why I'm so high on this team. What do you think about the Falcons' chances on the ground against this Panthers defense?
There he is.
All right, you ready?
Do it.
Cool. Yeah. So, I mean, what do you think about the Falcons' run game against this Panthers defense this week?
I feel great about it. I feel really good. It's going to be interesting because I think a key component of this run game is the man in the middle who always talk about Mike Davis really deciding to come on because sometimes you can say, hey, well, maybe they're not blocking for Mike the way they're blocking for Cordell Patterson. It's the same offensive line. It's the same plays. Cordell has just been, more explosive. I think he's been able to read the blocks a little bit better. He's been able to time them up. We could say he just coincidentally has been getting the calls that aren't working. But at the end of the day, if that guy can do it, you can do it too. And we're not even asking you to be Cordell Patterson. We're asking you to give almost the same amount of production or close to the same amount. Be a great 1-2 punch because those are some of the best duos where it's a 1-2 punch. And you have a changeup, and they have slightly different styles to where he can be a changeup. He just hasn't done it. And I'm actually going to see Mike Davis for the first time at the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award on Monday.
Oh,
So
nice.
hopefully
Yeah.
he doesn't listen to our podcast, and hopefully he doesn't stare me down, say, "Did you call me a bust in episode 6?" No, that was Will, not me. I didn't say anything of the sort. You're one of the best free signings since me. So hopefully he doesn't listen to the podcast and doesn't stare me down when I
Invite him
shake
on.
his hand.
Invite him on.
Yeah, I definitely will. But I was a former Walter Payton Man of the Year, so I get invited every year for it. Skipped last year
Nice.
because of the pandemic. But he's I think up for the award, and if he can, on Monday have a smile on his face because he was a big contributor to our run game, giving us a win, it'd make the interaction a lot easier, even if he listened to our podcast. Because I'm gonna say great things about him tonight and Sunday if he helps us win.
Do you want to talk a little bit about what the Walter Payton Man of the Year award is, real quick, and
Oh
then
yeah,
we can
there
go
are a lot
back?
of people who don't know. It's just the NFL player on each team who has the biggest impact in the philanthropic space gets that Walter Payton Man of the Year because Walter is known for service and what he did in the community in addition to his amazing feats on the field. And in 2008, because I was the first NFL player with an environmental foundation, and have my own comic book called Gridiron Green. I started environmental football camps. I created green tailgates to teach fans how to tailgate in an environmentally responsible way, and I did speaker series to talk about green jobs and teach kids how to make green by going green. And we focus on kids of color because they seem to be not as involved in the environmental space, yet they're disproportionately affected by the negative effects of climate change and global warming. So an NFL player never tackled it before me, but I had an issue with my kids being born premature, and the air quality in Atlanta kept them in the NICU way longer than I wanted. And so I wanted to get more information on the whole issue. The deeper I dug, the more I realized that I could use the power of sports to kind of help give my kids and all kids a better future. So with all
Yeah.
that, they decided to slap the award on me, which was a huge honor. And I was up for I think I got almost like to the quarterfinals for nationals, but my name isn't that big as a fullback, so some other people got the award. But still, I think it was Larry Fitzgerald won it that year. I'm not even sure, but it was someone who did some great work, and so it's always
Yeah.
great to be recognized. And I look forward to shaking Mike Davis's hand. Hopefully, not have him slap me.
No, I'm sure he won't, man. And that's awesome. No, that's really great. I know the Falcons have always been a team that I think cares a lot about that. I know Warwick Dunn has won
Yeah,
the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. I feel like somebody has
Ward,
recently.
Grady, Foyer. Yeah,
I Did they all win it?
yeah. I'm pretty
Or
sure Grady won. I saw Foyer there. I don't know if he's won it yet, but I think he may
maybe
have
he's
been
been
nominated
nominated.
one year.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Because
the
I
Falcons. So
know the Falcons have always been really I know they won like 3 or 4 salute to service awards in a
oh
row.
yeah, they're huge on that.
Um, yeah, Andre Roberts, Dan Quinn won one year. Um,
Steve
yeah,
Cannon,
Steve Cannon, yep, the CEO.
no Steve.
Yep. So yeah, the Falcons have been really big on that, but that's awesome, dude. So thank you for the work that you did on that. But yeah, when you see Mike Davis, invite him on.
Yeah, I
Hopefully,
will.
he has a huge game. But the offensive line has more to do than just run block. I think they've done a
Yeah,
much better job. And actually, man, you'll love this. when I went back and watched the Bucks game from this past week, Chris Lindstrom kicked Vita Vea's ass like on
Really?
so many reps. Yeah.
Wow.
We
No,
gotta
no,
like we gotta
no one
start
watches that. No one watches that.
we got to start being the patron saint podcast of Chris
Yes.
Lindstrom's everywhere, because like he
Quietly had a great
run
game.
blocking, pass blocking, like if you think back to where all the pressure was coming from, you know, you hate to say it, but it was Jalen Mayfield, it was, you know, Drew Dahlman, it was kind of the younger guys. Chris Lindstrom was a stone wall at
Awesome.
the right guard spot, and I feel like that needs to be called out because
Awesome.
not enough people are talking about it. He is playing so well, shut down Vita Vea on pretty much all the reps that those guys went one-on-one. Two really young guys. You love to see it. He's a star player.
Awesome.
Became one this season, just under the radar. But what do we expect from Atlanta's pass protection this week? Do you think they're going to try to do a little bit more max protect? I've been watching some Kyle Pitts film as well for a piece I think I'm working on for the Falcoholic, and they've been bringing him in pass protection at times. So, you know, I don't know if this is going to be a week where, because they have Hassan Reddick, who has 10 and a half sacks, and Brian Burns, who has 8 sacks. I mean, these
Yeah.
are good pass rushers. Do you think we'll see max protect, or do you think they're going to try to do some short passes, get the ball out quickly, and run the ball?
After last game, they'd be fools to not max protect. You know, Matt Ryan, year after year after year, is one of the most hit, hurried, and sacked quarterbacks in the league. And I love these threads. I see them every now and then about the Thomas Dimitroff threads where people are saying, well, we should just get all offensive linemen or all defensive linemen. We've done that. We've done that. And still, Matt was like the most hit, hurried, pressure quarterback in 2000,
Did you
13,
see
14, 15.
the numbers that just came out, where it was Matt
No,
Ryan he's the most hit quarterback in the league, and it's like not even close. Like
oh
up
God.
through like week 13, he's been hit like 92 times, and I think the next closest team is in like the 70s. And yeah,
Wow.
so it's just more context that like Matt goes through some shit every
Yes.
single game.
Yes, like I spoke about before. Like I don't know how quarterbacks do it. How they keep that shit in and don't just go off on their offensive lineman. Like what the
Yeah,
f are you
I
doing?
agree.
God dang it! Like I got children. I got a family to get back to.
They
You guys
get
are
hit
killing me out here.
a lot more than you think they do. Like
Yep.
after every play, somebody comes and just kind of shoves them to the ground.
Yeah, I mean it's not as bad as it was back, in the 80s and 90s, but
Right.
still they're getting hit a lot. And like my son's 7 years old, my wife's like, "Oh, well, he can play football, but we got to find a position that's nice and safe, like quarterback. Because I want to be a fullback like you." I'm like, "Yeah, quarterback's safer than fullback, but at least I protect myself. I know what's coming.
You
Quarterback's
want
looking down the field and gets blown up. So we'll cross that bridge when we come
second
to it.
string quarterback. You want to be the holder.
Yes, yes. You want to be the backup quarterback that chills out like Chris
Blue Mountain
Redmond for
State,
oh,
greatest show.
hang
Backup
out,
quarterbacks.
chill.
What's up?
But to answer your question, I think that they got to max protect. They got to make sure that what happened to Matt last game doesn't happen this game. Because, like we both just said, he's one of the most hit quarterbacks, and that can only last so long. You want to preserve him for next year and the year after, when we have actual chances of potentially winning championships and getting into the playoffs and having a deep run. The goal should be to be able to have our linemen do it by themselves without help. But until they're
Yeah.
there and they're not there, we can't just will them to do it and hope and wish and click our heels and spin around 3
Right.
times
Yep.
and pray that Matt's going to be okay. Until he is okay with our linemen just doing their job, running backs got to chit, tight ends got to stay in, release if no one's coming, and find creative ways to be able to protect our $100 million quarterback.
Do you think Mike Davis gets an applause when he returns back to Bank of America Stadium? Do you think when they announce Mike Davis, cheers
That's
or
right.
boos?
That's right. I
Probably
think
cheers, right?
I think Mike
They're
Davis.
soft. They're soft up in Charlotte. They're
It's
soft.
not Chicago or Pittsburgh or one of these like Philly where these angry, mean, just savage fans reside. they're a little more nice as Charlottes. They're
They're
not
eating
as
their pimento cheese sandwiches and drinking their sweet tea.
yeah. So they're going to be. Oh, Mike's back. Hey, Mike, have a good
Oh,
game.
I
Not too
liked
good.
him. Yeah,
He was
exactly.
so nice. I met
Um,
him at Kroger.
Good. I hope he runs it down their throats. Uh,
Yes, I'll wake up you on that.
what? So I mentioned the last game, and this was my first time being able to watch kind of the eye in the sky view because I was there in person. But the thing that stood out to me both times watching it,
Mm.
kind of low energy from the team in this game. I don't know if it's an early afternoon coming back at home kind of deal, if it's just the Mercedes-Benz Stadium of it all, because the Falcons have yet to win in that stadium, as we
I
pointed out on Sunday.
yeah.
Um, so I don't know if that was it, but what kind of energy do you expect from this Falcons team? They've been playing really well on the road this season. Something about it, kind of they play just sharper. This is a must win. You can talk about must wins in week 4.
Hmm.
You just do that to drum up the ratings, right? Like that's just an industry thing. Like
Yeah,
week 4, you can
it's
be
fun to
0-4
say.
and make the playoffs. Who
Yeah.
cares? So you talk about, is this a must-win game? No, it's not. This might be. You're 5-7 for all intents and purposes. If you can't beat a team like the Panthers, you're probably not beating the 49ers the next
No.
week. You're not beating the Bills. You may not beat the Saints. I mean, you got to win most of these games. How fired up do you expect this Falcons team to be?
Oh, super fired up. Like I mentioned, if it's a continuation from last game, they had some vim and vigor. They had a little bit of spirit. It was palpable. It jumped off the screen when you watch. If you've been playing football as long as I have and watching football as long as I have, you can see what a team is inspired. You can tell
Yeah.
when you're playing their rival. You can see when they have that playoff electricity in how they finish plays, run to the ball, chatter, little bit more than usual. And I like that. I like, teams getting up for big games. And this is still a division matchup. You're going to see this team 2 times a year to the end of time. And you want to make sure you put your foot up there. You know what? You want to leave an imprint on them of who you are, how you play, and win, lose, or draw, you're going to be black and blue when you go home. And so I think the Falcons are going to come with everything they got because not only that for pride, but this will pretty much negate their playoff chances, which are already hanging by a thread. But just this makes it just all right, let's see what the rookies can do. All right, let's see who wants to play. Let's see who wants to be here. And I don't want to go there just yet. Granted, we've been there all season, but it makes it official if we lose this game. I want to keep on, having something to play for rather than just pride.
So I like where your head's at. I have a theory though
Theories are
that
good.
I want to run by you
Sure.
right after this.
Ah, it's good.
All right. So you mentioned earlier the Panthers are a team in disarray.
Yes.
They fired their offense coordinator Joe Brady, who frankly, candidly, I loved Joe Brady.
A lot of
Coming
people
out
thought
of
he was
LSU,
a good pick.
I thought pairing Matt Rule, Joe Brady, match made in heaven. I kind of feel like he's gotten short shrift with Christian McCaffrey being as injured as he has over the past couple of years. Never really got
Mm-hmm.
to unlock Christian McCaffrey in this offense. Um,
True. Cheat
but
code.
that's shocking. And then Cam Newton coming off of a bizarre performance, like
Why
one
would
of
they
those.
fire him off that? That wasn't his fault. That was Cam Newton. I get putting him in position to fail. And I really don't care because it's the Panthers and it's their own mess. But it just feels I don't like things that aren't fair. I'm big from if I'm
There's
your
gotta
kid. That's
be
not fair, and it
there's
doesn't seem
gotta be
fair.
something more to it.
Oh
There's
yeah, it
gotta
has to
be
be.
there has to be.
'Cause
I mean,
that's
we
a shitty time to
obviously,
fire somebody.
yeah, you don't do it at the end of the bye week, right? Like they were coming off of their bye week into a game week. You don't like fire them on Sunday night
Who
coming
get
off the bye.
fired on a
Like that's
day
weird.
off?
Yeah.
How can you get
So
fired on your day off?
there's got to be something. It'll be interesting to see where Joe Brady lands. I guess I'll
Yeah.
I'll just say that.
He'll have a job
But
somewhere. It's a coaching carousel. He'll go to the Jets or something, or like Browns or some other
but
terrible.
then we've got Cam Newton playing erratically. They benched him. They went to PJ Walker. you just
Mhm.
got a Panthers team that's kind of all over the place. They started
Yeah.
out hot and they have been just terrible since that
Mhm.
hot start. You brought up rivalry game. You brought up
Mhm.
energy, emotion. These two teams in their first game, it got chippy. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
even though I think a lot of Atlanta fans, the Saints are obviously A1 rivals,
Yes.
but the Panthers have such a chip on their shoulder because they're the redheaded stepchild that
Yep.
like these games are weirdly heated,
Yep.
and I think the Falcons are better suited to just give them the cold shoulder on
Mhm.
Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
Don't play into it. Don't buy into it. You say bring all the energy, bring all the heat, the enthusiasm. No, I say come in here, do your job. I'm better than you. The Panthers again are melting down. They are like they cannot get out of their own way. So my
Yeah.
question for you this week as we head into the locker room, I need your insight as a player. How do you approach a team that is stumbling all over itself in a game? When you see a team that is just can't get out of its own way, melting down, whatever, what's the mindset going into a matchup like that? Do you want to, because you don't want to lay off the gas too much and just
No.
say, well, we're not going to take it hard, like we're not focused because we don't want to mess you up or whatever, but you also don't want to necessarily get them too fired up or get them too focused
Yeah.
and get so how do you approach that?
There are two trains of thought, and from being with the Ravens, veteran-led team, to being on the Falcons, sometimes little more back and forth, but still Matt Ryan has been a veteran who's led the team for a long time. I've seen the thought of when you see a wounded animal and a team that is putting blood in the water, you can smell that and feel that and be like, all right, we have a chance. Some, excuse me. Sometimes if you go at the wounded animal too much, and you do go too hard, do too much, you can get your ass kicked.
Mhm.
And you went away from what works. You went away from how you play
Yeah.
because you thought, oh, I can get them. Oh,
You
they're
saw the
down. Oh,
kill.
let's
Yep.
change things up. And then you're left, holding your jock strap, saying, "What happened? I don't know what happened. We changed up our thing to try and fit that situation." Yes, you have to do that sometimes, but there's a school of thought that says just do what you do better. Prepare more, focus on your weaknesses, keep on doing what you're supposed to do week to week, getting better, and you'll win the game. There's another train of thought that says you smell blood in the water, you go after it. You try to crush them in the first quarter. You know that they're a second away from here we go
Yeah.
again, like the Falcons have been several times, and so you make sure you come out strong. And Mike Mularkey used to love that when he saw a team that we should beat, a team that was in disarray. He was like, "All right, we're gonna run it down their throat. We're going to go for some big plays with Julio, Tony Gonzalez, Roddy. Y'all stay there. We're going no huddle offense. Let's let them know first quarter, game's over. Y'all can try to catch up the rest of the game, but it's going to break their spirit." And I like to be more aggressive. For me, I'm always for option two because I feel like, hey, if you can put your foot on their throat and apply pressure, why the hell not? Now, it'll backfire sometimes if they're able to withstand that initial onslaught
Yeah.
and
Yep.
rebound. It may backfire because you've
You
given
expose
all
yourself.
your energy. Yeah, they're rope doping, and you're going in the first round boxing and throwing haymakers. And you're like, wait, that didn't work. Oh no, all our best stuff didn't work, and you start doubting yourself. So, but still, if you know that you can do what you do well better than they can, I say throw everything at them.
So you think the Falcons come out swinging, get the Panthers on the ropes, make
You
them play
got to.
from
I mean,
behind. Yeah.
especially after the loss that you had, I feel like
And
it's
let's
good
be
to.
yeah, the Falcons need to prove that they need
Yes.
a win like that. They need to come out and be the better team from start to finish. So
Yep.
regardless of like, let's even set all of that dumb theory stuff aside. The Falcons got to come out and they got to just from start to finish win a game, dominate a game, be the better team. That
Mhm.
like we keep talking about incremental progress, getting better
Yeah.
one step at a time. They have yet to come out I think maybe the Dolphins game was the best game they played offensively for 4 quarters,
Yeah.
but that was still like a 1-score game in the fourth quarter. Like that's not a game that they dominated all throughout the afternoon. So they need to put a complete game together as the next step in that evolution. Who needs to have a big game on Sunday for that to happen?
I mean, it's hard to say because you really have been putting so much on his shoulders every week. And you're like, well, what week will he be able to deal with the pressure, deal with the double teams, and come out and be the or fill the gap that Julio left? You want Kyle Pitts to have a big game. And even though they have some great defensive backs, some are top rated by Pro Football Focus, but they're defensive ends are going to be getting after Matt Ryan and giving our offensive line all we have. But if Kyle Pitts can find some way to get those hot routes, those quick throws, catch it with one hand, fall forward for a first down, be able to stiff arm somebody, to the depths of hell and step over them and be able to do some of these phenomenal athletic plays that he can, that's when we get excited again.
Yeah,
Because our run game is getting better. We know that. But is our pass game getting better? Russell Gage is showing up in a bigger way. Like you
he
mentioned,
is. He
Tajay
is.
Sharp had a great game against the Panthers last time. But the last piece of that puzzle is Kyle Pitts, not just having a couple of flashes, 100-yard games mid-season, early in the season, but to say, no, like I'm here for the long run. And I know I'm going to get double teamed. I know that I'm the top, guy people want to take out of the game. But I'm going to find a way to beat that because I know it can be done. I've seen the greats do it, like Julio and Tony Gonzalez, and all the top receivers in the country and the top tight ends. I want to be one of them. I want to be in that category. I want to be in that conversation. And at some point, he has to stop just thinking it. Well, he needs to start thinking it and start doing it. I hope he's already thinking it. Because that's the first step to becoming great. You have to believe you are game in, game out. But
Yep.
now he's has to execute.
One thing that I noticed about Kyle Pitts going back and watching some tape of him just in preparation of, again, this piece that I'm thinking about writing for the Falcoholic is he seems to lack urgency when he's running these routes. As a route runner,
Yeah.
as in and out of routes, making it crisp, breaking all of this stuff, and sometimes that can be something you have to learn in year two.
Yeah.
And so I worry that maybe that's just something he doesn't possess right now that will come next season, but he's just not like ready when Matt's ready. And I kind of feel like that's because he's just not as urgent in and out of his breaks. Matt's on his third drop and Kyle's just now starting to make his turn. And Matt's now looking elsewhere because Kyle's not ready. So I've noticed that a little bit, but I'm going to say Eric Harris is my guy who needs to have a big game, because if you could give a best supporting defender award for a defender who makes offensive players look good, Eric
Mm-hmm.
Harris would be my recipient of that award, because he is always just right in frame, diving for a ball that a receiver catches for like a touchdown. If Eric Harris just makes some of these plays,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
the Falcons defense is having a much better kind of
Much
year, I
better.
think, statistically than they're having. So if Eric Harris has a big game, I think this defense rolls. They're having a great one. All right. What is your final prediction, Ovie, before we get out of here?
We win this one. This is going to be a W in the Falcons column. I'm saying it's going to be 24-17. Yeah, 24-17 Falcons. I'm going with that. Some field
Okay.
goals in there. Yeah.
24-17. I'm going to say 32-20.
Oh, okay.
So I think the offense comes alive, and or maybe there's a defense touchdown in here this week. I don't know. I think the defense been playing well, and I think Cam Newton can turn it over a little bit. So that's what I've got. Sorry, you broke in and out, and I worry that I dropped you. All right. All right, so that's what we've got this week. Ovie, you got anything else before we get out of here?
No, my friend. I am still enjoying Invasion. There's a show, League of Legends, called Arcade. My daughter's got me into. I'm watching that.
All right,
And
Brian Kearns. You remember Brian
yeah,
Kearns?
my guy.
Yeah, so he works for the company that created Arcane.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
The equipment
Riot.
manager, Brian Kearns? No, Brian Kearns was the he was the PR guy.
Comms. Yeah.
Comms, yeah. Are you
Yeah.
serious?
Yeah.
That's random as hell. That's kind of cool though. So
Brian
yeah,
Kearns was on this podcast before you joined. Yeah. Friend of
no,
the
he
pod.
get out of here. That
He
is so
was.
cool. Well, so yeah, so Arcade, and then finally Lost in Space. Season 3 is finally out, and I'm loving it. Finding out where these kids are going. I'm not going to mess up people who haven't seen season 1 and 2, but season 3 is great. Me and my wife, it's our little guilty pleasure, so we're watching that. So
Nice.
I'm enjoying some good TV. I'm looking forward to the holidays so I can really kind of lay back and just veg out on great shows. And I'm gonna find time for Succession. You keep on telling me about that. I see it all the time. I swipe by it. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
it's
watch
so
it one of these
good,
days.
man.
One of these days.
It's my like Sunday night.
Guilty
I
pleasure.
can't even describe it. It's like Sunday is the best day of the week because
Love them.
I wake up thinking about football. Only football, the Falcons, what's the
Yep.
game, when is it, blah blah blah, watch it. Then it's kind of like, all right, what stuff do I need to get done around the house? Do I need to mow the lawn? Do I need to do whatever?
Yeah.
Then I'm thinking about our podcast. And usually maybe it's like in the shower or it's like I'm getting ready for bed. I remember a Succession episode is
Best.
dropping at nine
It's a-
o'clock, and I'm
Yep.
just like, yes, yes, I get
Yep.
one more good thing. It's like the
Yep.
last 8 weeks have been Christmas for me because I just remember at like 7:45,
Mhm.
and I'm just like, oh yes, I get a new episode of a show that I
Now I gotta
love
watch it, man.
dropping. It's
You've
so
been
good,
selling
dude.
it for a while. I'm gonna check it
It's
out.
so good. It's
During
so
the
good.
holidays when I'm flying to Oakland to see my wife's family, 5 hours, I'm gonna download the
Oh,
episodes and then
oh
be able to
yeah.
watch on the plane.
Each episode's like an hour. You knock out like half the first season, you'll be hooked. Yeah,
Perfect, perfect. Good
yeah,
stuff, man.
you'll be good.